Awesome. So I'm gonna just start out as Greg said, we do actually have some things to celebrate and some exciting things happening in lunar science. So I'm going to start out with some of those exciting things and show you some of the real progress that we've been making, particularly in Artemis over the last few months. So I want to celebrate. We've got a couple of new folks that have been onboarded. Our deputy project scientists for Artemis 3 and 4. So congrats to Dr. Patty Boyd and Survey's own Jen Heldman. They're up and running now and really helping us out as things start to ramp up for Artemis 3 and 4. So that's great news. Next slide. I think I showed this group maybe 2 years ago. That picture on the upper left of inside of the mission control down at JSC, where the computers were actually located during Apollo. This is the space that we had been granted to build our science evaluation room inside of that mission control building at JSC, and we had just last month this amazing, very fancy ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate that it is now built and ready to use. So it is super satisfying to be able to walk in there and see that space. It looks very different than all the other control rooms because scientists are different, and so it is a much more sort of configurable space. You can see we have all of these sort of collaborative areas where we can actually talk to each other and not just stare at screens. And so it's very cool now to finally be able to sort of get in there. So next slide. In addition to that science exploration sort of front room for science, we have a back room for that that is located, those of you familiar with JSC, it's in building 36 on JSC, so sort of the other side of JSC. That's like our sort of back room to the back room, where we've got folks who can do like image analysis and some of the sort of quick return to give information to our back room so that they have it as close to real time as possible. That is also up and ready for action. Next slide. And we recently had our first full up Artemis 2 lunar science team down at JSC. They were able to use both of those rooms to conduct several sims. So we got a real sort of feel for how things are actually working. We got to try to figure out what was going to go on all of the like gazillion screens inside this figure out what is the best way to operate and utilize all of that screen space. It was really great to finally see these sort of things coming together. You know, Artemis 2, this is an all sort of internal NASA science team, but like a lot of what they're doing is really laying the groundwork for Artemis 3, helping us figure out, you know, how all of these things work, how these rooms work, how the processes work. Next slide. And one of the really critical, we're also doing a lot of crew training. We've gotten folks out into the field. You can see Cindy Evans there with Christina Koch in Iceland. Cindy is our training lead. So we've done some field work with them. We've done some classroom work with them to get them up to speed on the moon and lunar geology. And now we're really moving into more sort of like hands-on Artemis 2 specific kinds of training. You can see them like figuring out how their camera works. And this on the left, the bottom left there is an image from just last week. They did this very cool training where they put a giant inflatable moon inside, hanging above the Orion crew trainer, so that they could sort of practice the actual choreography of like where the four of them are and how they are going to look out the window and take pictures and stuff. So it's super cool to see these things happening and really, you know, getting into the nuts and bolts of how Artemis 2 is going to happen. Next slide. And one of the really cool key parts to that, again, is like trying to figure out how we as science are communicating back and forth with the crew. And part of that is this new science position. Oh, Ricky, can you click forward one more? There's another time step. Yes. So you can see we actually got, you know, the word science. So it's really cool just to see that as the Artemis mission control room. And you can see we actually have a science position in there now, which is kind of amazing. Our science officers are going through their certification process. It is a fairly lengthy process to be able to sit in that room on a console position. And so they are in the midst of getting getting themselves trained up and ready to speak for us for Artemis 2. So it's really awesome to see that progress, and I just love that sign, just hanging in that room, making sure everyone knows that science is an important part of this mission. Next slide. We've also been working Artemis 3, so we had a really fantastic virtual reality sim last fall, a very sort of full up, we've done, sort of the Jet 3, Jet 5, where we have folks out in the field, and that's really super helpful simulation for some things, but it turns out like being able to like actually be on the moon and do all the prep work for a particular location on the moon through VR actually helps us with certain other things. It's not quite as good for the science, you're sort of picking up fake rocks and stuff as opposed to real rocks, but there are certain aspects that we can do much better in virtual reality, and so we're trying to find the balance between those two kinds of simulation activities. And so we had this very cool full up virtual reality sim. I think you'll hear a little bit more from Lauren about that later today. We are gearing up to do another one this fall, and so we are sort of like trying to like we are moving away from like the big like what are we doing to more of the like practicing for how we are going to do it for Artemis 3. So it's kind of cool to see us moving forward in execution in these ways. Next slide. Okay, so moving on. So I'm very happy to report that we did get roses out. It was a big a long, lengthy and long process, but happy to see roses has come out. I know it looks a little different this year, but we do have some exciting things in there, including the Artemis 3 Participating Scientist Program. I want to note specifically that those step ones are due very soon, and it's just a few weeks, August 12th. So if you're interested, I encourage you to get that together quickly. I'm also happy to report that we were able to include LMAP again, the Lunar Mapping Program. It was a test pilot last year, and things are going pretty well. And so we thought we would try it again. So we'll get a new group of mappers together for that. Analog activities, you probably see it is in roses, but it is not to be called this year. That is a complicated program, of course, because we have to rely on ESDMD, like doing an analog for which they need scientists to participate in. And so it's always a sort of weird timing thing to try to figure that out. And so it's still on the books because we would like to do it again at some point, but it's kind of reliant on when there's going to be an appropriate analog for that. And right now you can see we're all very busy with sims for Artemis 2 and 3, and so they haven't really had any, but we are keeping our eye out. So if there is something available, we will try to spin that up as quickly as we can. So like keep your eyes tuned, your ears tuned. So we'll try to let everybody know if and when that call shows up again. Let's see, handheld instruments. We were hoping to put an RFI out this year, but it doesn't look like, because of budget reasons, that we are planning to put an RFI out this year. I don't have any more information than that. I think when we have more understanding of the budget, we can come back and talk about a schedule for that. Artemis 4 deployed instruments, those proposals are in. They are in review. They are moving through that process on schedule. I know you all want me to give you a date, and I don't have a date for when those things will be announced, but I know that they are moving along on schedule to get those announced as soon as they can. We do have the LTV instrument selected, though. That was an exciting announcement, came out just a couple weeks ago, and I'm not going to steal Brad's thunder. I believe he is going to talk about those selections. So we're very happy to be moving forward on those. It's exciting to sort of think about the kinds of science that we're going to be able to do on the moon with the LTV a few years down the road. And then finally, the SurveyCan. I know we were supposed to put that out early this spring. The draft is nearly complete. We were able to basically finish that draft, but it has been kind of put on the shelf for now. It is on hold. We had been saying it was on indefinite hold, and I didn't like that language, because I think some people hear that and think, oh, well, they're just never going to put it out. And I think some people hear it and think, okay, well, I'll check back next week then. And like neither of those things are true. Our current plan is to basically delay it by a year. So we'll put the draft out or early next year, first quarter next year. That is our current plan. That is not a promise. That is the plan that we are currently working to. It is budget dependent, and so as we work through our budgets and figure out where we're at, that plan could change. But I want to be as transparent as I can so that you guys can make your plans. And that right now is the plan that we are working to, is to try to put that draft out sometime sort of first quarter next year. I do want to note that there is a Roses rollout. I hope you all saw that note from NSpires that Kathleen is going to sort of talk through Roses on July 29th. So please mark that on your calendar. And those of you who are not planning to propose, we are really looking for volunteers for review, particularly for the PSP program in the short term. If you are interested, I think there's a sign-up sheet up on Sarah. So please do sign up to review. We need some good reviewers for that. Next slide. League update. I just wanted to note that League was granted permission to finalize the two big projects they were working on, the last of the League XMEG studies on sample data and the League goals document. And mostly this is just here as a reminder for me to thank Tim, who is leading both of those very big efforts. And hopefully you should all, those of you who are there, can send along my thanks to Tim, because those have been some pretty big heavy lifts, and to the rest of his team. I'm really glad that we're going to be able to finish those up. I think they're going to be important, both of them community documents for us. I'm really particularly looking forward to that League XMEG study. So there's some near-term actions I've been trying to take that I needed those results for. So really appreciate all of the hard work that the community puts into these activities for us. Next slide. Lunar Surface Science Workshop. So we have sort of slowed the pace of these a little bit. We've gotten into a more steady sort of 4-ish a year pace. We had some good ones last year. Those are talks and reports should be available on the survey website. Some of the reports are not there yet, but we are working on it. From last year, we've already had a couple this year. We had the Science of the Pressurized Rover back in April. Updates from headquarters, our usual sort of updates in May. If you missed those talks again are available on the survey website. We've got a couple more planned for the rest of this year. Importantly, that our A4 landing site discussion, September 10th, please mark that on your calendars. That is where we really start to talk about Artemis 4 and where we want to drive landing sites from a science perspective. And so we really want some community input on that. So appreciate if you can show up to that. And then one that I think is going to be a lot of fun, actually, some early science results from CLIPS. So if you want to know what's been going on with some of these early CLIPS missions, particularly our Blue Ghost, got a lot of really great science results, and they're have had a little time to look at those results and are ready to start talking about them. So really looking forward to, I think that'll be a really fun one in November. And I do want to thank Survey, starting with these next two. Survey is going to sort of take over all of the running of these LSSWs, so the registration and abstracts and whatnot that used to go through LPI. Survey is just going to do all of it for us from here on out. So really appreciate that. So look for those things. The registration might look a little different next time, but we really appreciate the community showing up and providing inputs to these LSSWs. It is probably the best and easiest way that we can get input on the timelines that we need it for Artemis. So super appreciate that. Next slide. Okay, and then this is my last slide. This is I just wanted to remind everybody yet again, if you haven't gone out and read it yet, the implementation plan for a NASA integrated lunar science strategy in the Artemis era got released last November. It is online. We got some great community feedback and got it out. This is sort of a living document, so this is, we're going to continue to update it on a sort of 2-year cadence, but this is the best document we have right now. It is the most comprehensive thing, where if you have questions about Artemis, I feel like a professor that keeps saying, you know, read the syllabus. I keep saying, have you read the strategy? That's in the strategy. Did you read the strategy? So please go and read the strategy. There's lots of good information there. It will answer a lot of your questions. If you still have questions after that, please feel free to reach out, but like go read the strategy first. Okay. All right. And I think that is my last slide. I think we're taking questions at the end. So thank you all.